Today we will be showcasing an example of a room on fire with sprinklers and a room on fire without sprinklers. Nationally, there's a big push to get home sprinkling systems in all new constructed homes. Now, we know that that's not going to happen overnight, but what we wanted to do is to educate our residents as to the benefits that sprinklers provide in both commercial and residential buildings. So our residents will be able to see firsthand today the dramatic difference between sprinklers and non-sprinklers in a fire located in a room. We're going to be showing you what we see when we arrive at a typical house fire in Bedford Heights, Maple Heights, or Bedford. I mentioned all three of those departments because we have the gentleman from Maple Heights Fire here today as well. If we could give them a round of applause. If you're a Bedford Heights resident, you are protected by a Tri-City response, which in the event of any working fire, and that's defined as smoke, fire showing, or multiple calls suggesting there's a real fire, we are automatically all dispatched at the same time now. It's part of us working together to work better. And we call that the Tri-City response. That's Bedford Heights, Bedford, and the city of Maple Heights. So what you're seeing today is an accurate depiction of the trucks that may arrive at a house fire in Bedford Heights. You may not see just Bedford Heights. You'll see Maple Heights and Bedford with us. To your left right now, we have a room that is not sprinklered. There's a movement today across the nation to get home fire sprinklers installed in all new construction homes. And in fact, old homes can be retrofitted as well. Can anyone guess what the stumbling block to having that done is? If he says money, I'm going to be really impressed. It's cost. The cost of doing that is a source of debate. And what we're trying to do across the country is to convince the Home Builders Association and local building departments and fire organizations that it makes good common sense to build new homes with sprinklers. And we hopefully will show you today why that would make a difference. The materials built in homes today are not like they were 100 years ago. 100 years ago we had that heavy, thick wood, solid material. Today everything is veneer, petroleum-based, plastics. Things burn hot, they burn fast, and they burn with caustic smoke. That's why we wear SCBAs. If these gentlemen could turn around. Firemen wear self-contained breathing apparatus when they go into a house fire because they don't want to breathe in these terrible things because they will make you sick and worse. Raise your hand if you have a working smoke detector. Please see our table today if you need another one. We recommend them on every level of the home, and we recommend them in each bedroom. May sound like overkill, but the earlier we can detect a fire, the quicker you can get out, the quicker 911 is called, the quicker we can arrive and save your valuables and put out the fire. And let's remember, it's more important than the valuables, it also deals with human life. The quicker we're called and the quicker we get there does make a difference. Working smoke detectors aren't optional, they're a must. We show up at fires in the city of Bedford Heights and our neighboring cities, and Maple can attest to this. Have you ever shown up to a fire, guys, without working smoke detectors? Unfortunately, we all see it, and we don't want to see it because smoke detectors with a missing battery, smoke detectors that aren't there, that were purchased and never installed, don't do the job, folks. So please make sure you have working smoke detectors. While they're preparing this, I'll tell you a few facts about your Bedford Heights Fire Department. Our average response time, about 5 minutes. That's 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's 4 o'clock in the morning. We're 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We respond very quickly in the city and provide good fire protection for you, and we need you to help us to help you. Working smoke detectors, calling 911 early, getting out of your home, and having a family meeting place. The best thing I can do as an officer of the Bedford Heights Fire Department is to get off a rig and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, is everybody out of your house?" And you're going to say, "Yes," because everybody's met at that home meeting place and we know that we're okay. Okay, so what you're seeing now is what we refer to as the incipient stage of a fire. It's small, it can be put out with a fire extinguisher. The incipient fire stage does not last very long before we go into a free burning stage, and that's when we need you to be out of the house.
Smoke detector's going off.
Smoke detector's gone off.
About 20 seconds.
This is 20 seconds after ignition. Have an appreciation for how fast fire can travel in your home. Jerry, you can come on the other side and take pictures. How many seconds now?
About 35.
About 35 seconds now. We're 35 seconds into the fire, and you can imagine how hard it would be to find your way out if you did not have a smoke detector warning you early enough. Our sprinkler is now gone off. It went off about 15 seconds ago.
That's working good.
The wind changed, though. That's the only problem. It was blowing west to east, now it's blowing north.
It's almost out.
About 50 seconds. 50 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now 1 minute into ignition. No gasoline was used in this experiment. This is an ordinary combustible scenario, the things that are in your home. We are 1 minute into the fire. That dark smoke is indicative of a fire that's being put out and is not being able to get all the oxygen and fuel load it needs. Situations in that room would be untenable for human life at this point. Okay. So you can see we still have a smoke issue, but that big ball of fire we had in our first fire, okay, thank you for your help. Thank you, Morgan. Okay, now we're going to cool that one down, and we'll let everybody come in and see the difference in the rooms. It's important to note, sprinkler systems don't do the job entirely for us. They hold the fire at bay, so when we get there, we've got more to work with. We expect temperatures up there were well over 1,000 degrees. This whole room you saw eventually flash over, which means everything in here was in a free burning state at the same time. You'll notice the couch burnt, the chairs, the TV, everything. When you go to the room next to us, you're going to see a dramatic difference in what the room looks like because that water initially on the fire really prevented a lot of damage and also gives you a lot more time to get out of the house and the building, which is where you see sprinklers typically today.